Hey everybody, it is Sunday. It is 9:11 a.m. I got an offer from DoorDash to go to Sprouts and shop for one item. I'm gonna get $11.50 for 3.5 miles. So I just started the day, and I turned the app on at about 9 o'clock, and so I got this one pretty fast. Probably 10 minutes to get this first one of the day, and should be pretty simple. It's just one item, and I'm just trying to remember where I left off in my story. I think where I left off last was I had sold the house that I was living at, and I decided to move to Las Vegas is where I had left off at. So this was way back in 2010. So we're still talking about 16 years or 15 or 16 years from where we are right now. So we're still talking about pretty far back in the past when I came here to Vegas. And the transition was pretty jarring because this was a time period where we were still in the Great Recession, and there was a lot of carnage going on in the real estate market. And so coming up here to Vegas was 10 times more scary than what was going on in Southern California. Southern California, it was like there were more signs that came up, and it was hard to sell a house, but other than that, everything seemed pretty much the same as far as, the city and the environment. It was just, people were just trying to sell their houses is what was going on in my area. So when I came up here to Vegas, it wasn't like that at all. It was a ghost town. There was nobody here. The roads were empty. The stores were empty. Anywhere you went to eat, I was usually the only one inside the stores. So we're inside the restaurants. So it was like every day was like Sunday here in Vegas at that time. And the houses, there were so many for sale signs. It was crazy. Like every street had at least 3 or 4 for sale signs that I could see. Get my car parked here, and then I'm gonna head on into Sprouts and get this one item. It looks like it's just a pack of meat, and we'll be in and out in no time. Let's go. Alright, I got the item. So I think this is the right one. I guess another delivery driver didn't get them the right piece of meat, so here I am getting them the correct cut. That was really easy. I guess, yeah, another delivery driver shopped and got the wrong item that the customer wanted. And I can understand how they had a hard time getting that particular item, because there's 2 different kinds of cuts of meat that look very similar. One of them is chuck steak, and the other one is chuck roast. So it's very easy to mix them up, because immediately your eyes are looking for the words chuck. So that's what I was looking for too. I'm like, okay, well, this is chuck. This is grass-fed chuck. And then the next word after chuck is steak. And I'm like, no, it says here they want roast. And I know a roast is definitely usually, it's a fatter cut of meat. It's thicker. So at the bottom shelf, I saw the one they wanted, and they only had one left, so I really lucked out. Oh, should I go? I think I can make it. So we're going to be going, let's see, I gotta wait for my phone to reset. It thinks I'm going the long way. We're going to be going 7 minutes, 2.3 miles. We're going to go to a house. It's going to be a leave at the door. And when I went to go check out, there was a long line, and there was the person in front had a huge cart just full of stuff, and I have to use the cashier. I can't use self-checkout. So I stood there just trying to be patient, and the person that was bagging the groceries said that they could help me on the other register, which was awesome. And I got the heck out of there after they rang me up. And the total cost for the one piece of meat, it was over $40. It's just crazy how expensive beef is. This person must have money, or they have an addiction to beef. So, okay, back to the story. Where did I leave off at? Oh yeah, I came here to Vegas, and it was just carnage. It was terrible. The houses that I went to go look at, some of them were abandoned. Some of them had, we had to be, me and the realtor, we had to be very careful because some of them could have squatters living in them. I guess there's a homeless population here that started to break into the houses and just sleep in them because they knew they were abandoned, since they saw the sign that said foreclosure. And they saw that you can tell when a house is basically nobody's there anymore because it's complete silence. It's almost like a graveyard of houses. And so it was kind of scary, and it was very nerve-wracking making the decision, because if you experience that type of environment, you think to yourself, this is not where you want to live because it's dangerous. Even though I wasn't looking at neighborhoods that were like low-end areas, there were still that element of it being so quiet and nobody being around that it felt like it was dangerous, because you didn't see anybody on the street, and there were no cars. There were hardly any cars on the road anywhere. Even on the major streets, there was hardly anybody around. So it makes you feel like you're making a mistake, because you're like, well, if everybody's leaving, why am I coming here? Is this going to get worse? Are the buildings going to eventually get graffiti on them, and there's going to be like random houses just catching fire? So you have all these fears. But the prices were so cheap. You could get a condominium at that time for like I think they were like $50,000, $40,000, something like that. They were not even in the $100,000s for a condominium. A townhouse was like in the 100s, and it was unbelievable. So I was like, well, I think I ended up trying to get this one particular place, and that was really nice. It was a really large property, but the family was still living there, and it was being foreclosed upon, and the house was like, they were still there, and their clothes and all their stuff was littered everywhere. And it's so sad when you see people, and you feel like, and I'm just trying to find a place to live and get a good deal, and yet I'm in these situations where you're seeing these people that you can tell they're devastated, that they're being removed from their properties because they can't afford to be there anymore. And here I come in being like, oh, I'm just looking for a place for myself to live. And so it was not a pleasant experience. All right, we're here in the neighborhood. I gotta get ready to drop off. Let's see. What are we making a left up here? Look at the address. Okay. Oh, let's see. Turn. This looks like a cul-de-sac. Alright, we look for the number. Oh, it's this one right here. This is going to be an easy drop-off. It's just one cut of meat. All right, come on, Smith's grocery. Smith's Brad's grocery order. $11.50 for that one. Not too bad. Got that done in record time. Yeah, the normal routine where I head back to base. Trying to remember where I came from. How did I get over here? Okay, I think it's coming back to me. I work this neighborhood all the time, so I'm very familiar with all the roads except for when I get into these neighborhoods. These ones where they wind and curve. $14, 9 miles, no. That's when I get thrown. $9, but that's shopping. Oh, thanks. It was $9, 3.4 miles, but it was shopping. I'm trying not to do shopping unless it's at least $10 and a little over $1 for every item. $10, 15 items shopping. No. $3.50. No. There's another lousy one. So I'm just getting a lot of bad offers at the moment. And so trying to figure out what to get when I was here was a tough one to do, especially since I didn't live here. I'd have to drive up here and then stay at a motel. I remember one time I stayed at this real creepy motel at a truck. It was like a truck stop motel. It was really creepy. Here's the $10 CVS one. I think I have to turn around. Oh, I don't want. Oh, that's a good drop off, I think. Should I do this one? I guess I'll do it. It meets the metric, so I'm gonna hit accept. I gotta turn around, and of course I'm at a spot where it says no U-turn. I'm just gonna follow what the navigation says to get there. It says take the freeway. I'm like, okay, I'll take the freeway. Pause my DoorDash. Alright, we got the next one coming up. It's going to be from UberEats. It is shopping at CVS for 4 items and 5 units. I'm going to get $10.46 for 3.9 miles. It's probably actually more than that because I think the app would have told me to make a U-turn and go back towards where I just dropped off, and it would have been a shorter drive. So I think that might affect the distance, but not by a lot, probably by like a quarter of a mile at the most. So it's still a fair offer, and it meets that minimum $10. So we'll see how it goes. So when I was looking for houses here, I had to stay at a creepy motel a few times because it's cheap. I was looking for I wanted to save money. So I was like, okay, I just need a place to crash and then meet with the realtor and keep looking. And yeah, I found a lot of different places that had potential. There was one place that was in this really nice area. It was like the house today would probably be worth probably $1 million by now. But the problem with with that particular property, and it was selling for only like, I think they wanted like $350 for it at that time. But the problem with that particular property was that the previous owners had stripped everything out of the property because they were so angry that they had lost the property, that they completely stripped it, where there was no toilets, There were no appliances, there were no light fixtures, and all of the wiring in the house they had ripped out. You could see the lines on the walls where they had just torn out all of the electrical wiring throughout the entire house. And as soon as I saw all that, I said, I have no idea what kind of mayhem and vandalism the previous owner had done. For all I know, they poured concrete down the sewer lines too. So I took a pass on that one, and it was a beautiful home and on a beautiful property in a beautiful area, but there was no way I could risk it for all those reasons. Like, who knows how much it would have cost to get it functional again, even though aesthetically from the outside, from the surface level, it looked beautiful. When you went inside, you realize, oh, they've gutted the place. So that was a no. And let's see what else happened. So then eventually, I just made multiple offers on just different random places. I was like, I've got to make a decision soon, because my house that I just sold is going to be closing soon. The escrow is going to be closing soon. So I had to figure out how to get something fast, pretty fast, since I was closing. I had to make a decision, and somebody that wanted a quick closing. All right, we're here at CVS. Let me find a place to park and then head on in and start shopping for these items. I don't even know what I'm shopping for. Let's see. I guess I'll park over here. Yeah, this looks like a good place to park. Alright, let's go in. Hopefully it's going to be easy. Alright, I got everything. I got toilet paper, dishwashing liquid, some two things, and this is a substitute. They don't have the giant pack, so we're good to go. I think the only real difficulty was the water situation. And of course, this person not moving forward enough for me to clear the walkway. So inside of the place, I just had to pick up. First, I got some dental floss, which was easy to find. That was no problem. Then I had to get the toilet paper, and then I got some dishwashing liquid. I got the last bottle of dishwashing liquid. And I went to the place where they had the water, and that's when everything went a little bit awry, because they didn't have the full case of water. I think the app recommended getting another, like a 12-pack of Arrowhead water, and they didn't have that. And then it said other options were a 6-pack of Arrowhead water or a large pack of the generic water, which, if you've done this enough times, you know that people are very picky about their bottled water. And if they're selecting a name brand water to start with, that means they absolutely cannot stand the taste of the generic version of bottled water. So I knew I had to stick with Arrowhead. We got about 6 more minutes to go, 1.1 miles. We're going to an apartment, and it's going to be a leave at the door. So I got everything, and that was it. Got the heck out of there. And this is going to take me back closer to home, so that's good news. And then back to my story. Let's see, where was I? So yeah, it's a horrible environment that I was experiencing in this town for the recession. Made several offers on places, and I think the first one that got back to me and was responsive was the one that I went with, because I had a time deadline. So I closed on that one, and then made my way here with the barnyard of animals and the family. And so that was 2 dogs, 3 cats, and then the humans, and then the humans along for the ride. So that was crazy. And the particular day that I came here was one of the coldest days in the history of Vegas. So that was also a crazy experience in itself, because the wind was like 30 to 40 miles an hour. It was in the fall, but it was an extremely cold, strong cold snap. There were gusts of 50 mile an hour winds. I get to this place that I had closed on and arrived, and it's like a haunted house. I mean, there's no furniture in it. It's just an empty house that nobody has lived in for a very long period of time, and everything is outdated inside of it, and the heater it works, but it doesn't know how to shut off. So the entire house is either an inferno and super hot, or it's freezing cold, because it's an old central air system, and it's malfunctioning. And the windows and doors haven't been maintained, so you can feel icy cold drafts whistling through the cracks of the doors and the windows. And yeah, it was like sleeping. The first night was like sleeping inside of a haunted house. So that was very creepy. Okay, so I've got to concentrate again. We're approaching the apartment complex, and I believe I have to enter a code when I get there. And I don't even know what the building number is or anything. I've been jabbering on, but I didn't really look. So let me focus here for a second. See what's happening. Looks like I'm going to go through the left gate based on this map and get the gate code ready to go. This is when Uber starts sending you offers. They always do this when you arrive at the destination. They start cramming you with all kinds of stuff. So on the 3rd floor, gate code is... Oh, somebody opened the gate. Oh, it's closing. Ay, ay, ay. And the gate code didn't work. It's working. It's working. I'm gonna have to turn on the stop accepting new requests, because they're coming in there's too many requests coming in. Alright, so let's see, building number. They gave me a long, like a paragraph of instructions. Continue straight all the way to the end. I'm just gonna look for the building number. It's like, how am I supposed to read? You know, when people put instructions, they can only be so long before you can't even read it, because it's like a novel. They should keep their instructions super brief. Say, my building number is this. Closest entrance is on the west side of the building. And that's all. Something real basic. Don't overdo it. So let's see. Let's see, there's a short little walking path next to the fence, next to the freeway, that will, well, obviously it must be this one. So let me throw my hazards on. and head over there. $15, 12 miles now. Turn this car around without hitting anybody. Just don't hit any cars. Oh. Man, that was a workout. Just climbing those stairs. I'm going the wrong way. $11, 10 miles. Whenever I come into this place, I always get turned around. It's never a logical place for the road to flow. $12, 9 miles. Oh man. So I knew that when I came here that I was gonna have to, and also, take time and get the house to be more livable. But it was a great deal. It was only in the 200s. So I went from a house that was in the 800s to a house in the 200s, and it was essentially the same. Once it was fixed up, it would be the same quality of a home, as far as the size and the rooms, and the neighborhood also seemed like, once people came back, if they came back, it would be as nice, if not nicer. So I'm like, okay, I just got to take it one step at a time and just see how it goes. And I didn't have any intentions of like trying to find a full-time job or anything, because my business itself, making images, was still humming along just fine. $14. No, you're $1 short. Yeah, so my business was going just fine, so I was still gonna stay self-employed. $6, 14 miles. So that was not the issue. Man, so much work coming in, but nothing good. 11 for 11. And so everything in general was good. There was nothing that I was that concerned about financially speaking. I was more concerned about the future. Like, what was it gonna be like in the future? Is this house gonna go up in value? Is it gonna go down in value? This is gonna be the last delivery of the day. It is from UberEats. I'm gonna get $10.51 for 2.4 miles to go to McDonald's. I had a long break between the last delivery and now. I was working on the door that leaks. I had to buy some new sandbags, and I was filling them with sand and just trying to make sure they function properly for the next time it rains, so I can make sure that door doesn't leak when it rains. That's all that I did while I was back at home. Once I finished that, it took me about 20 minutes to get those sandbags put together. And I bought 2 brand new bags of sand, and it turns out I didn't even need those 2 bags. I'm trying to think where else I could use them around the house to prevent leaks, but I think maybe by the garage. I think there's a side door that when it rains heavy, water starts to seep into the garage, so maybe I can I have the bags, so I mean, yeah, the empty bags. I can fill those with some sand, and then just have them there as a standby. I guess that will prevent the door from rotting in the future. I mean, the door looks fine now, but maybe years from now, the door will start to rot from the rain always seeping through. My turn. So far, we've covered a lot of ground. I started off telling you guys a story almost from the very beginning, from when I was a teenager in the 1980s, probably being around 16 years old. And now the story, I'm actually, at this point in the story, I'm 41. So we've covered late teens, my 20s, my 30s, and now I'm entering my 40s in the part where I am moving to Vegas. And at this point, I am starting to have health problems, and I don't have any decent health insurance. This was at the time when there was no Obamacare. You had these plans that they would offer you with really high deductibles. So my particular health insurance plan had a $10,000 deductible under the condition that whatever was wrong with me was not a pre-existing condition. So that was the rules before Obamacare, was these plans that are cheaper, but they really don't give you the kind of coverage you would need for your situation. All right, I'm gonna park it and we'll go on inside. No waiting on the order, so looks like this last one's gonna be easy as long as it's not a real difficult drop. 0.7 miles. It's gonna be an apartment. It's gonna be a leave at the door, ring bell on door. Let me know it's there. Building number, okay. Let's go. So I'm getting health issues, and probably from all the stress, and probably also from the years of bad eating. I don't know. Also just hereditary, genetics. So a lot of problems coming up now that I'm finally in my 40s, and have terrible health insurance that really doesn't cover much of anything. It's totally bogus health insurance, and that's all that's all that was really offered for people who were self-employed. In fact, that was the biggest fear of anybody who left a full-time job that had health insurance, was how am I gonna be able to pay for my health care once I leave my job. So that's why most people, even today, they stay at the places where they work because of that issue. They have this fear that something's going to go wrong, or they know something's going to go wrong because they have a pre-existing condition and they're terrified of losing their job and covering the expense of the regular doctor visits and the treatments needed to keep them healthy. So here I am. I'm self-employed, and I'd been self-employed for a while at this point, and no health problems until towards the end with all the stress and everything, and then moving to Vegas. And then just like 3 months after I had moved here and was in the middle of remodeling and getting the house put together, I was doing a lot of the work myself. That's when I got really sick and I had to go to the hospital, and I was in the hospital for a week, and they patched me up and I was okay, although I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, but they patched me up and I was good to go. And then came the medical bill. This is a very common problem that people have. So it was like, what did the bill say? I think the bill was like I think it was six figures. It was either 100 or 200,000 or something. It was a crazy huge bill, right? And of course, I didn't have the money for any of that. I had sunk everything into this next property, and I had very little money now in my in the bank, except just a tiny amount. And so I was like, oh man, what's gonna happen next? It's like, well, I gotta just focus on my health, because that's the most natural thing to do. It's like, well, it's no point worrying about it because you just want to stay alive at this point. So I decided to negotiate with the hospital. This was during the recession, so I started doing a negotiation. A lot of people, what they do is they get so scared, they just stop communication, and they just think it's going to magically go away. They stick their head in the sand. But I started negotiating with them, and I was able to get it resolved. So thank goodness for the health insurance, because they covered the bulk of it, and the rest was negotiated. So that got resolved. So yeah, I was very fortunate that I was able to do that, because most people, they're stuck with some form of payment that they have to do in the end, and I didn't have that situation, thank goodness. All right, we're here in the apartment complex, and I just got to figure out where the building is. Let's see. Okay, 4. It's saying to go this way. Where is building 4? So it's just around this corner. I've got to remember to ring the bell, and then the app will send them a message. All right, this is the building here, so I'll park and go drop it off. Come on, McDonald's, let's go get you home. That was an easy end to a Sunday. It's still a little bit early, but I have some other things I want to do at home before I have my lunch. And so I'm just wrapping it up early today. I'm sure there's a lot more good opportunities out there, but I'm done. I'll be back out again tomorrow, so I'm good. So I'll wrap it up here and continue the story. Continuing on to tell you more stuff about how I was able to become financially independent, which at this point of the story, it sounds almost unbelievable that I'm going to be able to be financially independent based on where we're at in the story now. But I'll see you again next time. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.